What's going on, you guys? Theo here with the big review, back yet again with another King of Fighters All-Star video, and today we have a break from our normally scheduled programming. Today we are going to be trying something new here on the channel, and hopefully you guys enjoy it, but I figured since nobody really watches YouTube on Saturdays anyway, from what it seems like, I would just kind of do what I wanted today. So today we're going to be doing more of a chill chat kind of discussion video montage of some stuff that I wasn't able to fit into the tier list videos that we did through the week, but there's two major talking points that I want to kind of touch on today, so we're going to talk about them. They're pretty interesting topics, but first one's going to have everything to do with how you should budget your rubies if you are a new player or a veteran player in 2021 with the Lament of the Boss Syndrome characters and people talking about how the unified banner's dead and collabs are the only thing you should pull for and blah 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 blah. And then the next thing we are going to talk about is the exciting news that apparently SNK VS Capcom Match of the Millennium from the Neo Geo Pocket Color is getting a re-release on the Switch, and the implications that could potentially have for things going forward in the future. A lot of people are freaking out about this. I'm going to be a little bit more laid back about it and be a little more grounded, as I'm sure you guys probably could already figure. But we're going to get into all that, but make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. It helps me out a ton as a new YouTuber. You guys can enjoy some video of me taking down this Hall of Elements boss at the tier 25, and then we're going to get into a nice fun little Immortal Victor clear with Jeanette, and then we're going to do some Kasumi pulls for her soul so that I can try and unlock her. So you guys can watch that in the background while we talk. But so first thing I want to talk about, I feel like this needs to be addressed, and it's becoming a hot topic in the community, and that is going to have to do with the Boss Syndrome / collab banners and whether or not the unified banner is quote-unquote dead. So first and foremost, basically what happened was the Boss Syndrome banner happened, and people go, hey, you know what? Due to the power creep, no one should pull for anything ever unless it is a collab or unless it is a Boss Syndrome banner. Okay, so that is half true, and I want to make sure that I at least talk about this so that people can kind of see where I'm coming from on this, because I hear so many people talk about this. It's half true, and I say that because if you are a veteran, yes, it makes all the sense in the world. You should definitely be doing that. If you have all these characters at Awakened level 4 or 5, 100% makes sense. Save your rubies. You already have unlocked most of the free-to-play rubies in the game. You are at a good place with your account. You don't need to worry about the unified banner as much. That makes all the sense in the world. But put yourself in the shoes of a new player, right? Say it's somebody that just downloaded the game. They go on the forums, they go on the Discord, and they go, hey guys, how should I spend my rubies? I've got all these rubies from the story mode, maybe from some of these other modes getting cleared for the first time. What should I do with them? And a bunch of people say to them, don't spend them. Save them for boss syndromes, save them for collabs. Okay, so you're telling that person, who at this point probably only has 2 or 3 characters, we'll just say 2 or 3 fests, probably have their guaranteed, gonets if they had asked beforehand and people told them the right way to get the right characters, and they say they have gonets and maybe 2 other characters. You're telling that person that just started the game that they are going to save all these rubies, lock themselves out of the ability to get a good 60% of the rubies available in the game, or better, and potentially not even get a new Boss Syndrome banner for months? Because we don't know anything about the Boss Syndrome situation. We might not get another Boss Syndrome banner for 6 months. We do not know. Now, granted, I think that it will probably be on a semi-regular basis. I think it may be kind of like a collab situation where it's every 3-4 months, but we don't know that. And so, therefore, at that point, that player for 3-4 months or better, they can't clear all this content. They can hardly play the game because all of a sudden they hit a point in the game where, oh wow, I've already cleared most of the story mode. With the few characters that they got, they might not even be able to clear all the story mode on all the hardest difficulties. We don't know. I mean, so it's one of those things where all of a sudden that player doesn't know what to do, and then they get bored and they quit. I don't agree with it. I think that if you're a new player, you need to at least, at minimum, be getting some of these characters that you need to get through some of this content, because you're not going to be able to get through Immortals, or RHD especially, or a lot of these other different challenges that come through. Heck, you might not even be able to hold a spot in a guild because you won't be able to donate much help to the guild raid, and they might look at you and go, "Oh, sorry buddy, but you're out." So it kills the fun for the new players. And don't turn it into, "Oh, well, the game's just not fun." That's not true. But for new players, they need to at least have a roster to get started first. So it doesn't make sense just to hoard all these rubies right off the bat. Now, yes, I do completely agree later on, do so. In fact, right now, this is the way I would do it. If you're a veteran player, save, at least until we know what's going on with the boss syndrome situation. But if I were you guys that are veterans or intermediates that already have the characters that you really need to get through what you need to get through, what I would be doing is saving, use the soul quest for farming some souls for some of these random fest characters so that you can use it in the exchange shop for purple soul dust, hoard your tokens so that you can use those on the unified banner whenever a character comes out that you either A, really like, or B, a character that's really OP comes out that you really need. So that is when you use those tokens. Save those tokens for that. Use them for the unified banner if you're a veteran. Save your rubies for collabs and boss syndrome characters. That's what you should be doing. Save, hoard tokens. However, if you're a new player, you at least need to make sure, look at maybe some tier lists, ask some people on the forums or the Discord. Heck, you can even ask me in chat, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. But try and get at least the top 4 or 5 characters for PvE content, because you need to unlock those free-to-play rubies. Those free-to-play rubies are locked behind that power creep until you have those characters. So that is my opinion on that. I feel like it's disingenuous to just flat out say the unified banner is useless. It's not useless. That's so far from the truth. Are you saying that Lady Zero is useless? Are you saying that Gonitz is useless? Are you saying Nameless is useless? It doesn't compute with me. So yeah. Anyway, that is my opinion on all that. I just wanted to make sure that I got that out there because I feel like it is a half-truth that people are not fully kind of grasping the different implications and ramifications of, and it does not work the same way for every level of player. So that is kind of my point there. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to talk about the next thing here that I wanted to kind of cover, and that is, I don't know how to take this. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm excited, but I want to be also realistic with this. So basically what happened in the past couple of days is the Korean ratings board leaked that they had rated SNK vs. Capcom Match of the Millennium, which was originally a Neo Geo Pocket Color game that came out in 1999. It's actually a really good game if you guys haven't played it. They recently rated it for the Nintendo Switch. Interesting. So if this is all to be what it is on the surface, that would mean, obviously, first and foremost, we are going to be getting a re-release of this game for the Nintendo Switch at some point this year, probably. Usually whenever these ratings come out, it's typically a pretty quick turnaround when we hear a release announcement for these types of things. So don't be surprised if here in the very near future we get some information on this. But the reason why this is potentially really important is because, for those of you who do not know, Capcom and SNK have not had the best working relationship the past several years. In fact, I believe it has been pretty much since that card release. What was that game? Like SNK vs. Capcom Card Fighters or something for the Nintendo DS? I don't even remember. But that's how long ago it was that they worked together on something, really. And so it's one of those things where now people are kind of speculating, okay, does this mean that we're going to get re-releases of, Capcom vs. SNK 1, Capcom vs. SNK 2? Are we going to be getting a Capcom vs. SNK 3? People are freaking out, and I need to at least take a step back and tell you I don't think that it means a lot of that yet. Now, it is a good sign. It means that they are at least willing to re-release one of their games together and work together on that and kind of agree to those terms. That's great. That's good news. That at least means the door is open. You know, in the past, you know, nobody knows why the relationship has been strained for this last several years. You know, there's all kinds of wild theorizations out there, and people on Reddit are going crazy with all their different conspiracy theories, but I doubt any of it is as exciting as people want it to be. It's probably more so to do with just business. But the fact that these two companies are willing to come to an agreement to re-release this game for the Nintendo Switch is a step in the right direction, because that could mean there could be other little things that happen as a result of that. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is going to happen, so don't quote me later and go, oh, well, the big review, TBR said, oh, all of a sudden we're going to be getting a Street Fighter collab. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that typically if companies are going to work together again in some capacity, this is the way that they started out. They start doing the little things, and then if those go well, they move on to the bigger things. So does this improve the chances of a Street Fighter collab? I don't think it hurts. I think it at least means that if they were to get a phone call from Netmarble, they'd be willing to listen. So I don't think that this means that it is going to be all of a sudden we're going to be getting announcements this year of them developing Capcom vs SNK 3 like some people are freaking out about. Or no, I don't think any of that. But I do think that there is a chance, every chance in the world, that we will potentially be getting re-releases of the old catalog of games from them. Now, it's a little bit different depending on how you want to look at it, because Capcom vs SNK 1 and 2, as far as I remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in chat because I know you will, but Capcom developed Capcom vs SNK 1 and 2. SNK vs Capcom, those games were developed by SNK. So it depends on a lot of different factors, but I do think that there's every chance, and it makes sense, right? Like, we were getting all these re-releases for all these old 2D fighters, and they're extremely popular, especially the Capcom vs SNK franchise. For a lot of people that are major fighting game players, they consider them to be some of the best fighters ever made. So it makes all the sense in the world to re-release them. They would make all kinds of money. But don't sit there and act like it is just a foregone conclusion that we are going to be getting these things. Just be happy that we're getting what we're getting. Be happy that the door is open. But don't get completely crazy about it. Now, like I said, do I think that it helps the case for us potentially getting a Street Fighter collab in the future? Yeah, definitely. I think it does help in the future. You know, whether we are going to be getting one sooner rather than later, I do not know. But I think this at least proves 100% that there's a chance that it could happen. I don't think if Capcom was offered the right deal that they would go, now hell no, we aren't going to work with them. That isn't the case anymore. These two companies are at least willing to kind of do things together in some small way. So I really don't think that the bad blood is there in the way that people think it is. I really do think it has everything to do with just pure business in the background. You know, there might have been years ago, we all know the stories behind kind of how things went years ago with the development of, now we know about Capcom vs SNK 3 at the time, and then the bankruptcy for SNK, and, you know, then the developers behind Street Fighter apparently said that they didn't like to work with with SNK supposedly, and all these different things. And, you know, a lot of this stuff is always just purely people just talking on Reddit or social media or whatever, so you never know what to believe. So I always choose not to believe any of it, but it could be exciting. We'll see. But it is coming. We don't know when, but I'll make sure to update you guys. But that's today's video, guys. Make sure to let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Continue.